This is Poland Daily Business, and we'll talk about business today, seriously, because Professor Zbigniew Krysiak of Warsaw School of Economics is our guest. So welcome to the show.
Welcome, and nice to be here.
Well, I hope so. And let us start from the projections of the moves that Joe Biden will take concerning the American-China trade relationships and trade war. During the past term of Donald Trump, the United States opposed very much to the Chinese trade offensive. The United States tried to use the reciprocal trade relationships. It worked and not, because those two economies are huge, and anything takes years. Saying so, I must stress that we see that the return of the manufacturing to the United States under the supervision of Donald Trump. And the question is, will it stop or not? Because on the other hand, the prices of energy are lowest in the developed world in the United States. So maybe the relatively high cost of labor will be offset by the low cost of energy and proximity to the markets. What do you think?
Yeah, that's, a process of shifting of United States companies from China to America back was a right step. And since many decades, since 2 or 3 decades, nobody was able, to notice that problem, that concentration, the production in China will lead to the monopoly of China. And as well, China is exercising not fair activities, because the China is just getting different technologies and without, being charged for that. So the energy price, the cost of the energy is a very important component of profitability of the companies. And the United States offers this globally, the best prices, and United States became, the leader in the production of the oil globally. So which was not any, before it was not any time that something like that happened. So the Donald Trump really, implemented something which worked. Unfortunately, the pandemic, just this picture, and there is a danger that Biden will not be able to continue that process appropriately, because as we heard, the Germany is just getting an agreement with China, and the Germany can be approaching that way to settle German companies in China, replacing the United States companies. So what that means, that even shifting, the companies back from China to US will, give a chance to sell American products to China. Because if Germany will replace Americans' company in China, then the Germans will have this market share.
Right. Do we have any chance for the construction of the Western trading bloc, the bloc of the countries that rely on democratic principles, on freedom of speech, of liberty of market, and so on, rather than the world will turn around the country that is communist, that has censorship, that even has that violates every single rights of people to privacy and so on?
Basically, what is a driver of that not positive processes, this is a power. So the power, like we see the power of German over Europe, the power of China over Asia, but as well over Africa, We realize that in Africa there is a very many Chinese companies, and in some areas China is already the leader. So the power is a main driver of that wrong processes related to the ideology. They are just, trying to depress, to remove as you said, the freedom, the solidarity, community between countries, friendship, and the power especially is connected to the corporations, big, oligarchy, which doesn't take care about, any values, any Christian values, any values of humanity. As we realize, currently 50 million a year are killed, not on board children. So this approach is sacrificing all human values which are most important.
Well,
and this
thank you very much for
dangerous.
saying that, because the single biggest problem the next decade or two will be the lack of people, of depopulation of the major economies, suffocating economy, because we are still growing on the presumption that, for example, real estate will grow indefinitely, because the prices will still grow because people will need it. Well, it will not, because there will be less and less people in the developed economies, and we will not be able to import new people, new customers, simply because there is a skill barrier, there's a language barrier, all kinds of barriers that exist. So the prospect is really not that funny, and I think the single biggest threat of the future is not being addressed, at least in the major economies of the West.
Yeah, you put a major key problem, because from one side, the growth of GDP is related to the growth in the population, and the population will stop that growth. And as well, the ideology, this is ideology which is, related to killing the unborn children, is bringing to the depopulation and is unlogic, So the very serious problem is that Biden is just, from one side, a Catholic, but he is just respecting this kind of the ideology which is related with the depopulation. And this seems to be, surprising, because how, somebody can run the economy applying principles and rules which are basically against the development of the economy, which, of course, this, a factor which is against, the main factor is the depopulation. So we are very confused with that, approach and this
but
direction.
We should mind our own business, and hopefully Polish state is putting effort to stop the depopulation, although our situation is much more dire in this aspect than United States is. Sir, thank you very much for this conversation.
Thanks a lot.
Professor Zbigniew Krysiak, Warsaw School of Economics, was our guest tonight, and this was it for Poland Daily Business. We'll be back tomorrow.